Hey everybody, Shawn Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com, bringing you a wet fly pattern. You could even swing it as a dry, or throw it as a dry, if you put some floating on it. But this one's meant to be swung as a wet fly. It's a gray sedge, it's a caddis pattern. And this was one that I had requested for an order, and I thought I would share it with you. It's kind of cool, and it's not too hard to tie. So here you're going to see a picture of the fly, the material list, and then the video on how to tie it. Okay, in the vise here you see the gray sedge pattern. This is actually meant to be a wet fly. Probably float if put enough floating on it, but we're meant to swing this one as a wet fly. For a hook, I'm tying it on a dry fly hook on a Daiichi 1170 in a size 10. My customer wants the bigger size 10. And I wouldn't personally fish it this big. It's a little bit big for me, but this is the size that they've been catching them on the Lehigh. And so that's what I'm tying them for, man. For thread, I'm just starting out with some brown, 6/0 brown wax thread from Semperfli. Tying that on there and wrapping it back towards the bend of the hook. Now, once I get it back to the bend of the hook, I'm going to create a dubbing loop. And just going to loop my thread over. Wrap it back there, and I like to go once around just to tighten up my loop, and then I'm going to bring it back up towards the eye. I will put my dubbing twister on here, dubbing loop twister on, and then I'll set this aside. Now the next thing I'm going to do is for the body on this, I'm using some CDC, and this is like a dun colored CDC. Use whatever light gray colored you want here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the feather and I'm going to pull all the fibers so they stand straight out. And I'm going to do this on like 4 of them. And I'm just going to continue to layer them one on top of the other, feather shaft lined up. And what you have is this. So I already plucked one side of this off and it's already ready to go in my clip. So stack the 4 of them on top of each other, put them together. Put it in your clip, trim it off right along that feather shaft, and you see I'm ready to go. I can put this in my dubbing loop and get the twisting here. So, open up my twister, and I'm just going to put these right in, put these fibers in, and I'm going to try to keep where I trimmed off as close as I can to my thread here. You can see my thread seam running up there. If it's a little bit long, like back in here, I can just take my fingers and push it over towards the thread. There, you see it's nice right beside the thread. I like that. Now I'm just going to give it a spin, get these all twisted up, and there I got a nice CDC brush. And then we're just going to start wrapping this forward. And as I start to wrap this forward, I'm going to preen those fibers backwards and just palmer this forward up the hook shank. And we're just going to wrap that clear up there towards that eye. And just try not to trap fibers. I want this to be really buggy, and I want to get all those fibers going up there to create the body on this fly. Now, once I get up there towards the eye, we're just going to wrap this off and trim off our dubbing loop. Okay, now I'm going to lift all these fibers up and I'm going to trim them down a little bit because they're pretty long here. And I'm going to have more sticking out under my wing than I would like to have. That's pretty good. I can do a little bit more. Just trim them with your thumbnail. Cut them off unevenly with your thumbnail rather than putting a pair of scissors. It looks more natural if you do it this way. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a piece of mottled turkey feather. This is a wing feather. And what I do is I take a little bit of clear nail polish and I just paint both sides of this and it protects it a little bit better. What it does is it really stiffens it up. I cut off a slice already. You can see here it's really stiff and it doesn't tear apart, which is what I want. It gives it a little bit of sheen too, but more so it makes it really durable. So I'm going to cut a section off. This is about half as much bigger than the hook gap here. So if I lay this up here, you can see where my hook gap comes out. It's about half again as much. And then I'm just going to fold that in half. And this is going to be my wing. Okay, now I folded that in half. I'm going to take the back corner and I'm just going to cut a little tent. This is going to make my tent wing here. So cut that at an angle as you see, and then we're just going to lay this back over top of my body here. I want it to extend just out past the hook bend, as you see right there. That looks pretty good. And we're going to come in and we're going to tie this down and make sure it stays up on top and not wrapped around. So there we go. Get it where we like it. Trim that front side off. And there's our wing on our fly. Okay, I like that a lot. Now, I'm going to finish this off. To do that, I'm going to make a little bit of a dubbing loop. And I'm going to split the thread to do that. So I'm just going to flatten out my thread. And then I'm going to take whatever, if you use a bodkin or whatever you use to split your thread, just going to split my thread in half, as you see with my fingers there. And I'm going to take a little bit of dubbing. This is some SLF brown stone. Brown stone. It doesn't take much. I don't want a whole lot, you see there. And I'm just going to stick that in between my split thread and tighten that down. And then we're going to spin my thread to make a nice little loop here. And this is just going to add a little bit of extra bugginess. I seen this fly originally tied using some hackle, and he wants this to be more of a wet fly than a dry fly. So we're doing this with the intention of it getting real buggy and not riding on top, being able to be pulled under. So there we made a nice little bugginess. I could actually go a little bit thicker on that, and I think I will. And we can do that. We can just add a little bit of dubbing to it. Just don't put it on real heavy. Don't put it on tight, I should say, rather than heavy. And we'll just brush it out. There, like that a little better. And we can brush this out just a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with a piece of hackle. For a piece of hackle, I am using, you can use you can use, I like to use Brahma. Brahma is what I like to use over partridge. Partridge can sometimes be difficult to work with, so I like Brahma Hen. It makes a great substitute. What I do though is I strip one side off I strip all the fibers off of one side. Okay, there you see I stripped down one side, and then I'm going to strip all the little fuzzy stuff off the other side. So that's what I'm left with. Now I'm going to pinch out my tip. I'm going to tie this in by that tip. So I stand all the fibers up, got that tip there, I tie that tip in right behind the eye. A couple nice tight wraps, cut off my tag. And then I'm just going to make a couple wraps here. Palmering this, making sure my fibers go backwards. And that's it. We've got a nice little caddis wet fly. So what this really going to imitate is like a sunken caddis. It'll imitate that really well. Trim off that. Clean anything else up. And then hit it with a whip finish and we're all done. Put a little bit of head cement. I'm going to add just a dab of bone dry on here for head cement. And that's all that's to that fly. Great looking caddis pattern. that's gonna swing well for you. Okay guys, like I said, this is one of my custom orders that somebody sent me. They asked me to tie for them, and I thought it was really cool, and I thought I would share it with you. A lot of my patterns in my video are just that, ones that guys ask for custom orders, and I just share them because I like the pattern too. So, really cool pattern, and the way I actually saw this tied, it had a brown hackle instead of the brown dubbing on it. The guy wants to swing this as a wet fly, and that brown hackle was going to make it more of a dry fly, and that's not what he wanted. He wanted a sunken caddis, something to swing just underneath the surface, like a drowned caddis. And so that's what I went with on this. I decided to go with the dubbing color instead of the hackle color, just to help it swing a little bit better. Hope you like this fly, guys. If you want me to tie any of them for you, reach out to me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to tie them up for you. And any of the material you will need for this, you can find at our website at holsingersflyshop.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Shawn Holsinger.